Good morning, everybody. Shefa bracha v'atzlacha. We are now in parashat Tezave. The second parasha that talks about the Mishkan and all the things that go with it. And this parasha is mainly talking about the Kohanim, the priests, and the clothes they're wearing. But the parasha starts, "V'ata tetzaveh bnei Yisrael yikchu elecha shemen zayit zat." And you order the children of Israel that will bring you oil, olive oil. And this, we're talking about the purest oil that can be for lighting the menorah. So first of all, to understand what do you mean the purest oil, we talk about the first drop of the olive, and it's only the first drop. The second drop is no good. Why do we need only the first drop? Right? Just think about how many first drops you need, how many olives you need in order to produce the olive oil for the menorah. So first of all, we have to understand that the menorah is the Torah, and the light of the menorah is the light of the Torah, and the light of the Torah has to be pure. If it's not pure, we go into conclusions that are not exactly the spirit of the Torah, and it's happening all the time around us. So the lesson for us, the big lesson, first of all, is when you want to get the light of the menorah, the light of the Torah, it has to come from the purest source that you can. Otherwise, you have problems. And we see it all the time around us happening. If you don't take it in the pure way, in the same way that our ancestors took it and gave it to us, and we have to give it to our children, and so on. But the question is, what is this to do now? Last part, we're talking about all the parts of the Mishkan, all the tools of the Mishkan, on the tabernacle with the menorah and the shulchan and Aron HaEdut and the ark, and suddenly in the middle of everything we're talking about the oil for the menorah. Wow, we're starting now to work in the Mikdash. We didn't finish it. We have here the Kohanim, the priest, and nevertheless at the end of all of this we have Mizbach HaKtoret, the altar of the Ktoret. Why is this in the end? Why is not all the tools not in the parasha that we had last week? So the answer is very simple and very, very important. We're talking about building a temple. And as we said, the temple is not the stones, it's what the temple that we build inside us. It's like when we say, also when a couple get married, they love each other. We have Ish ve'isha. Ish ve'isha. In the Ish you have a Yud, and the Isha you have a Hey. Now, if you take the Ish and the Isha together, and God is there, you have good marriage, you have a Jewish home, you have the Yud with the Hey, which is the name of God. But if you build a home and you take out the Yud and the Hey, you take out the Kodesh Baruch Hu from your home, what do you have? To take out the Yud from the Ish, you have Esh, fire. You take the Hey out of the Isha, you have Esh, fire. And fire comes and burns everything. And that's the reason that our temple was burned, because we took out the Kodesh Baruch Hu out of our system, out of our ways, out of our home. And that was the punishment. So if we want to build the Mishkan, the temple again, we have to make sure that we put the Kodesh Baruch Hu inside us. So how do we do this? So we were talking about the building, to build the Mishkan. And now we're going to talk about the Kohanim. That's the human being. Those who are going to do the work in the temple, in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle. Says the Kodesh Baruch Hu, before you nominate the people that are going to work in the temple, you have to make sure that they come from the purest source that can be. That's why here in the middle of everything, we're talking about the oil of the menorah. And then after you nominate the right people, and he says not just the right, mitoch bnei Israel, they have to come from the children of Israel, from inside the people, from inside the nation. And it's a very important point also, because till now we had Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, he is one that, let's say, up there in heaven now, is not so connected to the reality of life. But Aaron, he comes from the people. He was raised up with the people. He was living with the people. He was there with when they were in Egypt as slaves. So he knows the people. He knows how to connect, and he is the peacemaker. So now is the time to combine with Moshe Rabbeinu, his brother, from the people. And by the way, together they do the job. And the interesting thing is that if you want a leader, you have to choose it from the people. Mitoch bnei Israel. And this is Aaron and his sons. So now, when you put Aaron in the right place, and you have the guy that is going to do the holy job in the temple, now at the end of the parsha you can have the Mizbach HaKtoret, and together you have the menorah, the Mishkan, and the Ketoret, and the priest, that is the high priest, the Aaron HaKohen, that is lightening the Mizbach HaKtoret, as it's written in the end of the parsha. I want to find it, 1 minute. ובעלות אהרון את הנרות בין הארבעים, when Aaron is going to lighten the candles, יקטירנה הקטורת, then he's going to bring the ketoret always before God. So here we have the three things we're talking about in our parsha combined together. We have the oil of the menorah that is lit by the man, which is Aaron HaKohen, and raising up the ketoret from Mizbach HaKtoret. That's the perfection. That's the right combination. And as we said, in order to get to the right combination, the first thing is the pure olive oil. And talking about the pure olive oil, and this is the power of the oil that is lit always. ואתה תצווה. We don't want to forget, today is the birthday and the day that the Yortzeit of Moshe Rabbeinu and his birthday, and Zayin Be'adar, and that connects us also to another interesting episode in our parsha. Our parsha is when we say, who were we talking when we says Ve'ata? Who is this Ve'ata? Ve'ata tetzaveh, Ve'ata, Ve'ata. Ve'ata, you will do. Who is you? Moshe Rabbeinu. So why is his name not written here? You know why his name is not written here? Because when the sin of golden calf, God wanted to destroy Am Yisrael and told him, I'm going to raise up a new nation from you. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, no. Don't touch a hair of Am Yisrael. If you want this, take me, mark me out of the book. I'm nothing. Just make sure that Am Yisrael going and living. That's a leader. Unbelievable. Now, he said, mark me out of the book that you wrote. And Baruch Hashem, God didn't destroy Am Yisrael, but they say, Kilelat tzaddik afilu al tnai mitkayemet. When you say something, the power of the word, if you curse or whatever, the power of the word is there. So, from one side, God had to mark out the name of Moshe Rabbeinu. Mark out Moshe Rabbeinu from the book. So, not literally, physically, but what Kodesh Baruch Hu did, he took this parsha, that it's mainly talking to Moshe Rabbeinu, and took his name out, and it's written Ve'ata, and the name of Moshe Rabbeinu is not there. That's the punishment. And the same parsha is also punished about the argument he had with God. When God told him, go, Shalach et ami, go and take my people out of Egypt, and he had an argument for 7 days with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, and eventually he agreed to do it, though this argument was not from the point of view of, I don't want to do the job. It was from his humbleness. He didn't want to take the job from his brother Aaron. So anyway, the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, okay, you are so concerned about your brother, that's going to be your punishment. You were supposed to be also the high priest, the Kohen Gadol. This job is being taken from you, and you're going to give it to your brother. And in our parsha, that's what he's doing. So in the same parsha, which is name of Moshe Rabbeinu is not mentioned, also he is nominating his brother to be the high priest, the Kohen Gadol. And interesting enough, it's the same week that his Yortzeit and his birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu. So much to learn. Dafka in this week is getting punished to show us that at the end of the day, Moshe Rabbeinu is just a human being like us. He got power from God, but at the end of the day, each one of us getting powers. He is what he is, and he is a human being. So in order to show us that even if on its birthday his name is not even mentioned. If we look at others like the Christians and the Muslims, the prophet there, he is everything. The Christian, the prophet is God, like, and everything around him. His birthday, wow, a big celebration. And here, in his birthday, he is not even mentioned. Nevertheless, do we know where he's buried, Moshe Rabbeinu? No, we don't know. Why? Again, to make sure that nobody's going to make an idol out of him. The prophet is just a messenger of God. What is important, we don't pray to the messenger, we pray only to God. And also, this Ve'ata that is written in our Parsha, by the way, the Gaon Vilna says, if we think that Moshe Rabbeinu is not in our Parsha, he is. How is he in the Parsha? If we take his name, 1 minute I will try to see, I haven't got the paper here, I'm sorry. Anyway, if you take his name, the name of Moshe Rabbeinu, and you look at the inside of the name of Moshe Rabbeinu, when I write it here for a minute. We have Moshe, and when I want to read the inside, when I say Mem is built of two Memim. Right, that's the name of Moshe Rabbeinu, okay? Moshe. Now, if I want to say the Mem, I say Mem, twice Mem. If I want to say Shin, I say Yud and Nun Sofit, and Hey, I add Aleph. In other words, I hope you understand what I mean. You see, this is the name of God, of Moshe Rabbeinu. So if I take the inside, which I'm going to do like this, the inside, I make it, I hope to sing it the right way, I don't know, 40, and Nun and Yud, 60 and 1. Anyway, even if you don't see it the right way, it's 40, 60 and 1, and together is 101. 101 are the psukim of our parsha. So the name of Moshe Rabbeinu is hidden like the hidden letters of Moshe, Mem, Shin, Yud, Nun, and Hey, Hey, Aleph. I hope you understood it. Anyway, it is there. Now, there is another interesting thing that we learn from our parsha. What is Ve'ata, 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 Ve'ata? A lot of times people say, okay, I'm not Moshe Rabbeinu, and I haven't got his powers and his talent and his wisdom, and etc., etc. Says the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Ve'ata, you, and you, and you, each one of us has to do this job. We have to pass the message to the next generation. It's very interesting that today I was talking about it from Beten Chelkenu, about that it's written 4 times Ve'ata. 4 times Ve'ata. Why 4 times Ve'ata? And he says very interesting point. As Ve'ata, the first is Moshe, the Kodesh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Ve'ata Tezave. You have to order Am Yisrael, but you have to make sure how you do it. And there is a right way to do it, and you need 3 things to do it in the right way. So the first Ata is you, Moshe Rabbeinu, have the job. You have to make sure to do it in the right way. How do you do it in the right way? Says the Chatam Sofer, unbelievable thing. The first one is Ve'ata Tetzaveh. Okay. The second one is Ve'ata Akrev. You will take him closer to you. The Aaron Achicha, Aaron, you nominate Aaron as the Kohen Gadol, so you have to get him closer. Akrev, get him closer to you. Ve'ata Akrev. So the second one is Ve'ata Akrev, is you make sure that the person that you're talking to, that you communicate with, that you want to educate, that you want to teach something, he understands that you're doing it from love, from closeness. You want to have him close. You love him, and not like you are this big shot talking to him from afar and ordering to do things. So the first thing is make him feel that you love him. Ve'ata tedaber, that's the third one. Ve'ata tedaber, which is the second one in the way that we should communicate. Ve'ata tedaber el kol chachmei lev. You shall talk to all the wise people, to all the clever people, chachmei lev, to all the chachamim. It says, when you talk to somebody and you want to tell him something, you want to order him something, you don't do it in a way of order. You make it in a way of that you make him clever, you make him feel important. In other words, you don't come to him from up there and says, well, you know nothing, I'm going to tell you. This way, it's not going to work. But you come to him and says, you are a very clever guy, and I'm going to show you a few things that only because you are clever you can understand it. This way, wow, all things. You also love him, and you also talk with him and make him feel that he is clever, that he is wise, and not like stupid, you don't understand nothing. And another interesting point, you should take psamim, there's perfumes and like special, how do you say, what is psamim? Never mind. You understand what psamim is. Take special psamim to for the Torah that had a very good smell. It says, the Khatam Sofer, you should take beautiful things that Chazal, our sages, said. So in this way, he will feel that you're not telling him your own ideas. You're telling him things, and you have a nice discussion about what our sages did, what the Torah is telling us to do. And in this way, you make him feel good, and you pass the message in the best way there is. And when he feels good, he is raising up from the place he is, and he's trying to climb up. And this is one of the main things that we have to do. So this is always connected to the olive oil, to the first drop of the oil, the first drop of the olive that is pure. And this is the only way that we can connect to that. And there is another interesting point in our parasha. It's a lot to talk, of course, like all the parashas, and talking about, by the way, a lot about the clothes that the Kohen Gadol and the Kohanim have. To telling us the clothes are important, but more important is who is behind the clothes. In other words, there must be a connection between the clothes you're wearing and your inside. As we said, the whole message is the Mishkan, the temple that you build inside you. And then we're talking about Avnei Zikaron, memory. He says to him, 1 minute. Okay, sorry. ושמת את שתי האבנים הקצפי האפוד, אבני זיכרון. And we'll put the two stones on the ephod, and they're going to be memory stones for the children of Israel. ונשא אהרון את שמותם בפני השם על שתי כתפיו זיכרון. And he will put them on his shoulders in front of God to remember. And the question is, what to remember? Why? He forgot the names of Bnei Israel. What does it mean to remember? Of course he remembers. So what's the idea? It's like we say Psukei Zichronot, we say the Psukim of Zichronot in Yamim Noraim, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And what's the Zichronot? We want God to remember. To remember what? To remember the good things that we did. And not so the bad things. And to remember that we are His children. As well, the same way as parents, they change the diapers of the baby, and he's dirtying again, and he's making mess, and again and again and again, and they loving more and more and more. So we approach God and says, remember us, the children of Israel. Remember that we are your sons. As we said, you chose us from all the people. You chose us to do the good in the eyes of in your eyes. So we're trying to do the good. Remember the good things we did. And this is Avnei Zikaron. And also, when we're talking about remembering, remembering is a very important thing in life. There are things that we should remember, that I think that we should forget. In this Shabbos, we're also going to talk about remember what Amalek did to us. Zachor she'asa lecha Amalek. And this is the fight against the pure light of the menorah. Amalek, that is inside of each one of us, that is around us, surrounding us. And this is also something we have to remember. We have to remember that everything we see that's nothing to do with the Heilige Torah, with the pure oil of the Torah, with the light of the Torah. It comes from a different source. We have to be careful. This is Amalek trying to force his way inside us, to ruin the temple that we are building inside us. So remember the ways of our ancestors. Remember that we are going with the light of the pure light of the Torah. And remember Amalek that is trying to get in and brainwash us. And it's happening all the time. And this is why we are reading Zachor. And it's important, in Mitzvah Deoraita, to remember what Amalek did to us and what he's doing to us every day. And if we remember and be aware and don't let Amalek go into us, and we let the light of the pure menorah get into us and build this temple inside us. All the best, and Be'ezrat Hashem, when we do this in the right way, we'll have the Bet HaMikdash and the Geula b'mehera b'yameinu. Amen.